What is going down, YouTube? Today I am back at the Fairmount Cemetery in Denver, here to check out as many people as I possibly can before I run out of time. It just depends on how quickly I can find these stones. So come with me, let's check it out. This is Isaiah Eamon Shoels, born August 4th, 1980, died April 20th, 1999. Isaiah wanted to be a comedian, dreamed of becoming a music executive. After graduating, he wanted to attend an arts college. Friends nicknamed him Bushwick. Born with a heart defect, his parents said he was a fighter who overcame his disability and went on to play football and wrestle. He had played cornerback for the previous year on the football team, but his father claimed he quit, possibly because of racial intimidation. Isaiah also played keyboards and wanted to become a record producer, like his father Michael, who was the president of Notorious Records and featured Knox Entertainment, a firm Michael started to promote black musicians in the Denver area. After graduation, Isaiah had planned to attend the Denver Institute of the Arts. He was a popular boy. Columbine principal Frank DeAngelis said his classmates would compete to work on school projects with him. Isaiah Shoels, thank you for having such a positive impact on our school and on our family. You will be greatly missed, and I love you, my dear child, he said at Isaiah's funeral. He's smiling down on us, classmate and friend Nick Foss said. I know he is. Isaiah was studying in the library with his friends Matt Ketcher and Craig Scott when the shooters entered the room. The three boys hid under the same table, listening to the sounds of the gunmen destroying the library and shooting other people. Isaiah was a well-known athlete and someone the shooters had problems with before. When Dylan Klebold saw him hiding beneath the table, he called Eric Harris over. They flanked the table on either side. Then Klebold made a racist comment towards Isaiah and tried to pull him out from under the table. When that failed, Harris opened fire, killing Isaiah. Klebold then shot and killed Matt. Craig was amazingly left uninjured, though he played dead, covered in the blood of his dying friends. Isaiah died from a gunshot wound to the chest. Witness reports of the shooter's racist remarks led Isaiah's parents to later claim that the whole massacre was race-motivated. However, Isaiah was the only black person killed during the shootings. In fact, no other black people were even injured during the assault. The last of the Columbine victims to be buried, Isaiah was laid to rest in Fairmount Cemetery in Denver, Colorado. Martin Luther King III, son of Martin Luther King Jr., spoke at Isaiah's funeral at the Heritage Christian Center. One of the many children gunned down in the Columbine shooting. Rest in peace, Isaiah. So the next stone we're going to go see is a man by the name of Michael Luther Ely Jr. He was murdered by a man named Katarius Martin Jr. So he had previous felony convictions. After 3 hours of deliberation, he was found guilty of murder and sentenced to life in prison. And here he is. Born April 20th, 1986. Died July 18th, 2016. So witnesses called Aurora police on July 18th after hearing gunshots at the High Hollows apartment off of Exposition Avenue. Responding officers found Ealy dead outside of the building with multiple gunshot wounds 8 spent shell casings were on the sidewalk, and witnesses on scene eventually pointed to Martin as the gunman who fled the scene. Ealy was pronounced dead at the hospital, and Martin was arrested by Aurora police the next day. The deputy district attorney told the jury in closing arguments that the defendant gunned down the victim in a senseless murder because he was angry. So Martin and Ealy knew each other through mutual friends and were drinking outside Martin's apartment when they got into an argument, and Martin brought out a gun. There was no evidence the argument was over drugs or gangs or anything like that. But the successful conviction was only possible because of the solid investigation and the courage of the witnesses who reported what they saw and testified at trial. Martin was previously convicted of felony possession of controlled substances in 2004 and 5, and felony escape from fugitive hold in 2009. He had completed his prison sentence at the time of Ealy's murder. So the crimes of Martin escalated, and he ultimately committed the worst crime and will now serve the ultimate sentence. Stupid, dumb, senseless act put this man here over an argument. It's like you can't even argue with people anymore. You can't even have a good old-fashioned fist fight. People gotta start pulling out guns. Rest in peace, Michael. So in front of a crowd of several hundred residents and community leaders, the councilman condemned the toxic energy that he says has been building recently on Facebook and next door as a swath of Northeast Denver grapples with the horror of 2 men gunned down in the Cole neighborhood this month. He pleaded with his neighbors not to point fingers at one another on social media, but instead to come together because we need to be healed. You've been going through a lot these last few weeks, Brooks told the crowd, which included Police Chief Robert White and Safety Manager Stephanie O'Malley. We will not allow violence to hold us hostage in this neighborhood and in this community. Then, grabbing the megaphone and chanting peace to the rhythm of feet pounding asphalt, Brooks led the throng down Gilpin Street from Martin Luther King Jr. Boulevard to Bruce Randolph Avenue, where the crowd gathered in a circle. So along the way, the group stopped to place a pot of flowers on the spot where Nolan Ware, 22, was shot dead outside Denver Gospel Hall on Saturday. That would be Saturday, April 25th, 2015. The young father, nicknamed Crazy 8, had been at the funeral of his great-uncle, 61-year-old Abdul Rahim Muhammad, who had been killed 2 weeks earlier in his yard less than 2 blocks away. Police believe that Saturday's killing was gang-related, while some community leaders think Muhammad's death involved gang violence as well. These gangs cannot continue to tear up our neighborhood. We're tired of the gunshots. We're tired of what's going on in this community. Tina Ware, Nolan Ware's aunt, pleaded against acts of retribution for the deaths of Ware and Muhammad. "You don't want to stand here and feel this," she said. "Let it go. Enough is enough. He didn't deserve to die the way he did," she said of her nephew. "He was somebody. Nolan Ware was the father of a 2-year-old and a newborn, according to a family member. He had run into trouble with the law when he was younger and still was on parole in a community corrections program. Several people during the gathering Tuesday evening, including Nolan Ware's mother, Tanya White, wore blue t-shirts displaying his picture and spelling out the grim parameters of a young man's life cut short. Just more gun violence. I don't understand what it is with everyone trying to pull triggers on everyone else. This is crazy. So Muhammad, May 28th, 1953 to April 11th, 2015. And then his nephew, Nolan Ware, April 20th, 1993 to April 25th, 2015. Too young. I hope the community's been able to heal since this incident. This is Alexis Emily Keith, born December 29th, 1998, died April 25th, 2019. It says in the Denver Post that a woman is facing a first-degree murder charge after a shooting that left her ex-girlfriend dead last week in Denver's Highlands neighborhood. Sorry, we're like right next to a street, so it's kind of loud. The Denver District Attorney's Office filed a murder charge against Paulette Joyce, 23, on Tuesday in the murder of Alexus Keith, 20. Just before 3 a.m. on April 25th, Keith called 911 asking police to respond to an apartment in the 2700 block of West 28th Avenue. Keith stated that her ex-girlfriend was armed with a gun and was pointing it at her, according to a probable cause statement from the Denver Police Department. After about 5 minutes, Keith stopped talking and dispatch could hear screaming in the background. Officers and Denver health paramedics responded to the scene and discovered Keith suffering from a gunshot wound. Keith was taken to Denver Health with serious injuries and was pronounced dead at about 4 a.m. Joyce was located and taken into custody shortly after the shooting near the 2700 block of Spear Boulevard. A DPD officer also located a handgun nearby. A witness told police that just before the shooting, the two women were arguing in the bedroom of the apartment and that the victim was throwing stuff at Miss Joyce and they were getting heated. When Keith called police and started giving information about Joyce, the witness told police Joyce pointed a gun at Keith and then heard a gunshot. Before she was formally charged Tuesday, Joyce was being held for investigation of first-degree murder. The shooting is being investigated as a domestic violence-related homicide. So Miss Joyce is currently sitting in our lovely Denver County DOC accommodations at the Denver Women's Facility, which is exactly where she belongs. I don't know why people get so mad that they could literally kill someone. That's crazy. I've been very, very mad before, but I never thought about killing anyone. It's just nuts. This is a really, really amazing stone here. And she was a really, really beautiful young woman. Family put lots of pictures here. The stone here. Try not to mess anything up. So it says, I just want to sleep for some years. Try again next lifetime. She had her whole life ahead of her. And it's just gone like that. You got to be really careful about the people you surround yourself with. Rest in peace to Alexis. Alright, you guys. I've been here long enough. Time to hit the road. I gotta go to work tomorrow. But you all be safe. Take care of each other. And remember that being calm when you're disrespected is a superpower. Not everyone can do it. So you might want to try to be as respectful as possible to everyone you come across, because you just never know what people are capable of. All right, you guys, be safe out there. I'll see you soon.